Hey guys, Vita here, Blueberry Hill. So here we are. Thanks for coming back to the channel. This is August 14th. We're doing very small stuff today. We're getting ready for the roofers on Monday. So we've completed the fascia, as you saw in prior part of the video. I'm going to finish up doing the wiring in the garage. Basically, I just do the receptacles, two receptacles to plug in. One's going to be a switched one, and one's going to be power for the garage door opener. And I'm going to run LED lights. They just plug in, and they daisy chain across the ceilings. The lights are fairly inexpensive nowadays. They're like 35 bucks for 8,000 lumens or something along those lines. Pretty crazy light amount of light. I have the same ones in the shop. I'm just going to use those. So I'm just going to plug in, and that's going to be a switched receptacle, and half of that one's going to be switched. I'm going to run some garage door opener wire right now, and put in some wire for the attic. By code, you're required to have power for lights anywhere there's machinery. So I'm going to put, because the AC units are going, the air handler's going, one's going here and one's going up in the upper attic and over the game room. So I'm going to have to run wire all the way up there. I'll put a receptacle in there, and then we're just going to have a pull cord light that should do the trick. Anyway, should be fun. Not too big a deal today. And then we're just trying to button everything up, and we'll go from there. Anyway, time for time lapse, and we'll talk at you later. Alright, so continuing with the garage wiring here, I'm doing the control wire. Just red and white, two little, I think I ended up with 18 gauge. You can go to 22, just for the switch for the garage door. I bought the cheaper version, which ended up being actually an 18 gauge. It was 17 bucks for 100 foot. They wanted 25 cents per foot for the 22 gauge, which makes no sense to me, but whatever. Anyway, I found the roll pre-done, so off I went. Basically, it's going to have a garage door opener right there by the light switches. It's going to be a light and a garage door switch there as well. Here I'm using the tractor. I was going to put the scaffold in here, but it's too much work. So I just got the tractor and started wiring everything, standing on the pallet, and that worked out pretty good. Pretty straightforward. Plus, I can move it and not worry about it. And boy, oh boy, was it hot. There's no air moving up near the ceiling right there. But anyway, once I did that, I continued. I have a lot of junk right there, but I continued popping holes into the 2x6s and trying to wire up the sockets. You can't even see them. There's 3 sockets right there behind all the junk, and I'm just trying to get everything ready for that. Kind of rough-in wire. I still haven't completed the rough-in wiring to the extent that I took the insulation off the wires, the conductors, and put them together. I am using Wagos, not wire ties, so we'll see what the inspector says about that. But anyway, that's what we're doing. So nothing real fancy here. I'm just pulling the wire through between the boxes. I think I have a total of 6 outlets in the garage. I don't plan to use the garage much for anything really, except for parking cars and maybe some odd things. But the shop is for everything that's going to be mechanical or otherwise being worked on. So this is just for storage and some other stuff, and minimal storage. I want to keep it nice and clean. We'll probably have some shelves for some stuff we want to store with it, near the house, whatever. But for the most part, the shop's going to be the catch-all for that. Here I decided to, at the last minute, our air handler is 21 by 21 by 4 feet or something like that, 40 something inches long, and I decided to cut the hole where it'll fit through there. Plus, it's a lot easier getting up in the attic. I should have done that a while ago, but anyway, I did it now, and it was a lot more comfortable going up and down. So last 2x6s I had on hand. I don't have any left, so I just used scraps that I had, and leftovers from other parts of the house, and then now I have only a few 2x4s for everything else I'm doing. Anyway, here I'm doing the that was a 2x12 I cut down for the last 2x6, and use that as the bottom plate. I was gonna do a whole header setup here, but I don't think it's all that necessary because of the zip sheeting and everything else. So done. So moving on to other stuff. The roofers couldn't make it. This is Monday, 8/16/2021. They had a carryover from last week, so I decided to do the PVC piping for the outdoor power wires for the pool, hot tub, 2 outlets, and a septic. They're all in one circuit. Probably not use the outlets too much, but regardless, putting them in. Here I'm doing a little bit of chisel work on the foundation, just to get. If you were paying attention, you just saw a 45-degree angle of PVC fall through the hole. There's nothing up there to really catch it. There's another one poking out right now, and I start plugging the PVC pipes onto that, and Angie will come out in a minute to help me do the longer runs. So here we're going to continue the plugging in the PVC. I needed to bend this angle a little bit so it would go a little bit to the left. So I used a torch, heated up the PVC, and then Angie came out and she grabbed a longer piece and we got it done. I'm using these screw-in clamps for 1-inch piping. It works pretty nice, self-tapping screws. There's no real weight on these things anyway, but regardless, some of this is going to be foamed in a little bit as well, just to protect it from, you know, rats, whatever. I doubt there'll be any. Anyway, we're doing some work. There's some fire ants right underneath Angie. That's no fun, but we're working through it. Here I'm actually making a little adapter. So I couldn't find the it's a T connection box. We finally went to Home Depot later and found the product. It was on a totally different shelf, way past the aisle that we were looking at. So anyway, there you see me putting that box in. I basically drilled some holes, cut a coupler in half, and then squeezed the pipe in there and sandwiched the pipe inside the box. Simple solution. It'll work. And here we're doing the run that goes to the underneath the master bedroom. This is for the septic. So there'll be one run that goes all the way to the underneath side, the overhang, and then continues underneath the master bedroom for the septic. That's just going to be for the running the pump for the sprinklers, and I guess a control module for all that stuff. Pretty straightforward. Some of this work is, you know, being bent over is not too much fun, but our big problem was the crazy ants running on 4 legs, so I got to take care of those. So moving right along, right where that post is, where I did the 90-degree right in front, there's going to be an outlet there. I just didn't have the T-box. I'm going to get that later on that day. We went to the store and we found them in the aisle. They were labeled in the wrong place. But anyway, here we are, just continuing. We're going to go all the way to the outside post underneath the master, and then we call it good for there, and that's going to run the power. It's going to be buried, of course, to the septic system. It's going to be right near that bent tree that you see right in front of it, or downslope of it. Anyway, shouldn't be too bad. Looking forward to, we have to submit the septic permit for that, but that shouldn't be too bad. Hayes County is running apparently 30 to 60 days now. They have new online processes that are taking forever. Hey guys, so VTech here. So it's August 16th. The roofers were delayed till Wednesday. We had some weather yesterday, and they didn't get finished in time with all the stuff they were doing. So Wednesday's a new roof date. Hopefully they'll make it. We're definitely ready for them. What I was doing today, since I finished up a little bit of stuff yesterday on the inside, you might have seen the video for doing the garage and all that other stuff, and then putting in the lights for the attic, etc. We just finished doing some PVC schedule 4080 outdoor piping, so we could run power to this corner back here that you're looking at. That's the post. It's going to get septic. Septic's going to be right over there somewhere. Let's move the camera a little bit. There we go. So the back corner basically shoots out to the left a little bit, and there'll be a big gigantic tank there. And then the sprinkler is going to go out further down the field. But we just finished running the Schedule 40 underneath, securing it with metal brackets. All this stuff's going to be painted later anyway, so it's going to hide itself. I do like things nice and tidy, so I didn't want to just run stuff all haphazardly. I couldn't find a junction box because I want to do 2 outlets right across from the pool. There's going to be one at this post over here and one on the other side where the Angie's office is, or the other bedroom is. And there's going to be a outlet there. Anyway, I couldn't find 3-way boxes, only 2, so basically 90 degrees or pass-throughs. And I needed a T-box and could not find it. They claim they have it. I looked it up today. They say they have them. I didn't see them in the store, so
I'm gonna have to run back there and see if I can find them. Anyway, it's a T-box, so I can run pass through and then one to an outlet, and it's gonna be a weatherproof outlet. So anyway, we're just doing 2 outlets across from each other. You know, two outlet, 2 sockets per side, and hopefully that'll be good enough. This is just going from experience. We never use the outlets that much at our other house, so I'm not sure there's real need for it. Whatever the need might be, I can still access stuff through the garage and add a circuit if I have to. But anyway, this circuit's going to run the septic and the pool pump and the 2 outlets, two sets of outlets that we have for outside, and that's it. So it's a dedicated circuit for just that stuff. The pool's going to be, it's not a big pool, so we're just going to use a 120 volt pump, 1.5 horsepower. Should be plenty good. It doesn't have to be a 240, and we'll make that work. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll holler at you later. Not sure what we're going to do on Tuesday. We're just going to catch up the stuff that we haven't done yet. I'm going to start looking at plumbing since we have a day or 2 before the roofers, and now I'm going to start making holes in the ground for the toilet, the sinks, etc., and we'll start working with that. I'm going to do the rough plumbing in, basically the I guess wastewater side first. Then we're going to worry about doing the PEX tubing from the hot water heaters and stuff. I'll probably have to buy those sooner than later, just so I can put them up and have everything ready to roll and know how many manifolds I need and stuff like that. So the manifolds are 1 inlet and then several outlets, and they let you manage the outputs to each sink, bathroom, utility, etc. on a separate line. So ours is going to be a lot easier since we have 1 tankless on one side of the house and another tankless on the other. They're going to supply both their sides of the house and call it good. So it's going to be 1 main hot water going to about 3 different things, so manifold for 3, 4, 5 things, I don't know. And cold's going to be basically distributed everywhere, since that's what goes into the sinks and the toilet, etc. Should be fairly straightforward. I don't expect any real challenges. My fun's going to be not hitting these guys when I'm drilling through the floor. So if you see the container, I'm going to make sure I hit some area here, go through the wood, and then the concrete. I don't want to hit any of these guys, so I have to measure twice, cut once, and we'll see if we make that work. But anyway, appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you on the next video. See you later.
So this is 8/17. Angie and I went to the store the night before. We got the tri boxes, the T boxes that had the connectors, and that's so I can put. You can see it at the corner there. I didn't have any more 45 degrees. I had 2 22.5 degrees, so I put those together, and that's the end of all our angles. And the outlet's just going to go once we have the patio in place, decking or whatever. Just going to wrap up near the container going upwards. So we'll put the box in place ahead of time, and we'll call it good. Here I'm cutting we didn't have the T box, so here I'm just cutting a small section out, pop it in there, and we're good to go on this side of the pool. Just for completeness, we got outlets. Yay! So this is now 8/17. So we decided to do the toilet flanges at this point, and you can see me working on a wall there. I wonder what's going on. Well, so it turns out right where the flange was going to go, there's a main big square support piece that runs across the container, and I wasn't about to start cutting into that. It was just going to be too awkward, too hard. So just happenstance that if you move the small section where the toilet's going to go back 3.5 inches, which is basically the width of a 2x4, everything lines up. So I ended up doing that. I basically popped. This is my office anyway. So I popped that section of the wall off. You see me pulling it out, cut all the nails, etc., and just kind of relocated the wall over 3.5 inches just for the toilet area. And then I, frame it in, and then I started cutting the flange off. You can see where the flange is going to go. It's on the floor right there. I haven't started cutting the hole yet, but I'll do that next. So anyway, relocate the wall a tiny bit. This is the only one I had to do that way. Later on you'll see me doing the apartment. That one went really smooth. That one took about a half an hour and I was done. Then I did the master bedroom one, which we ran into the same problem as this. However, we're not moving the toilet because I got an offset flange for that to fix that issue. I'll show you that later. Anyway, working on the wall, finish that up, and then I start hammering, making the hole in the ground. So this might be an odd process, you know, not putting rough in for the plumbing, but we didn't exactly know where everything was going to line up. So we left that alone and didn't cut into the floors of the containers. To me, this is more exact. Once the walls are in, everything else is where it's supposed to be. Then I measure off for the rough ins for the plumbing. These are the only ones I was worried about. Turning out not to be that big a deal. Of course, you know, wall relocation, but whatever. For the most part, it was an easy solution. The rest of the stuff, the normal plumbing, where you're going to use PEX, and that just goes to basically a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch hole, and we'll make that work. The rest of the plumbing, where we have the vent lines and all the other fun stuff, most of the big piping is going underneath. There's going to be 2 vent lines. We can't tie them together from the house is too wide, so we're just going to have 2 independent vent lines. One's going to go somewhere around here, or in the closet on the apartment bedroom, right in the corner. We're going to box it in somehow. The pipe will be, well, we might actually put it through the 2x wall, but it'll be 2 inch probably, to go up through the attic and out the roof. And then on our game room, we're going to have one going through the 2x4s there as well, to the high side of the roof. We'll see how that goes. I kind of almost want to put it on the master bedroom side, but I don't think it'll be high enough. So we'll see how that works out. We are putting a bulkhead for AC, so we might actually run it through the bulkhead with the AC as well. That'll be an easy solution for that. So here's the fun part. After doing all the work with the wall, you can see it's kicked out 3.5 inches. Started using my hammer drill. It's got a 3/4 inch drill bit on it. Hammer drilling. You make 4 holes, and then you just go around and you break out the concrete in the middle. The thing works really, really well. It's very fast. I did the 2 holes that are parallel to the wall. I did hit a rebar. The drill can go through them, but I don't want to destroy the tip. So we bang around it, and then I cut it out with the Sawzall in a few minutes here. So we're using the hammer drill with the chisel on it to break out the hole a little bigger. And then I'm going to go and get, here I'm trying to cut some of the wood away, so I can just shove the stuff through the hole down underneath the container. And then I get a blade for I had to go get a couple of blades actually. And the regular old air chisel, that worked really well because it's more controlled. It's smaller, so you can move around in the hole. And basically I'm just testing to make sure it fits. I don't want to make a giant hole. I just put it in so once it fits real good. Then I cut the wood away, and trial by error right there. Cut the wood out. Once I cut the wood out, then I change the blade out and cut the little rebar you see right in the middle of the hole. No, not a big deal. It was just you know, a little more work, but worked out. I did kill the blade on that one. I'm not sure why the rebar actually did that because it's not that hard. And then you cut the rest of the wood away, and voila, you got a hole.
Hey guys, so did you have fun watching that? That was crazy. So rebar, steel reinforcement on the container. I had to move you saw me move the wall 3.5 inches back. That's because there's a main structural support piece that runs across the container, and I just did not want to cut into that. It's huge. It's a big square support steel. So I moved. I thought this was easier. So I moved the wall back a little bit, just to make it, you know, working on the wood rather than cutting in steel. But here's our first hole for the cutout for the toilet. For the flange, we're going. So there you go. So if you look real careful, here's that steel piece right there. I didn't want to mess with it. I just barely touched it. But the tools I used, you saw me using a hammer drill. It's a nice one. It's a Bosch. It's a big one. I have different bits on it. And then I used a regular old Harbor Freight special air hammer. You know, versatile tool for all kinds of junk, usually with cars and whatever. It works quite well on concrete because it just does it little vibrating chips slowly. So you saw me do the circle pretty easily. And it turned out to be a nice circle, so it's not just popping concrete off. Anyway, that's our first toilet flange. This was the hardest one, and I like doing the hardest first. Next ones shouldn't be a problem because they're in the middle of the containers. There's no major structural. They're just C-channels, and we can move around a couple inches for those. This I had to move 3.5 inches, so no fun, but we got her done. The Alright, so let's move on to the next thing. I do have to get some sealant glue for that, and then I'm going to drill holes and then tap them with the, what are they called? Those concrete screws. Anyway, should be plenty good. We're going to get a little modern toilet, single piece. This actually gives us 3.5 more inches for the shower, which is going to go right behind the camera. So anyway, I'm happy with that. Let's move on.
I'm trying something a little different here. I'm going to comment as I do the work. Here I'm going to show you real time how fast it actually goes. It only takes a few minutes for this to get banged out. The hammer drill works really good. If you haven't used one, I mean, we're going through 3 inches of concrete, not a big deal. And it's what they call lighter weight concrete as well. Got smaller, like 1/4 inch and undersized aggregate, not the 1/2 inch or bigger. So I try to hit the kind of like 4 points of the circle, you know, across from each other, and then chisel my way into the hole itself. So I don't make a giant hole, just make it just tight enough for it to make sense. And this part turned out to be a little harder for whatever reason. I don't know if the concrete's different or not. I didn't hit any rebar. This hole worked really well. I was totally done within a few minutes, so I felt pretty good. So once the 4 holes are done, I start doing it from the side to break the concrete, and it breaks fairly easy because the vibration, you know, when you have cracks and stuff, it'll break it out pretty good. Once I get that done, then I switch over to the air chisel and put the chisel back on the bit. Then I use my air hammer once again to make the circle more of a circle. So with the chisel bit on there, it's easy to knock out the rest of the concrete, the main part of it, and then I suck it up with the shop vac, and then I use the air hammer to finish up the detail of the hole. I'm using the shop vac just to help it out. I do have the 4 holes went through the bottom, but they're plugged up at the moment. So I just bust through them. Then I use the eventually the Sawzall, then just cut the wood out. And this went fairly easy. You can see smoke here and there. The wood is the plywood they use on the containers is extremely dense. It's very good plywood actually, but it's meant for, you know, hauling a lot of heavy stuff on. So it's very high quality, very hard plywood, and the smoke is there just to let you know that it is. So anyway. Now here I am cleaning up the outside circle, top of the circle. The PVC on the ring, on the flange, protrudes downwards a little bit, so I'm trying to make a little clearance for that. And then later on I'm going to have to go get some basically generic construction adhesive for concrete, so I can secure this in place. And then of course screw it down with 6 concrete anchors. Yeah, beauty of a hole in the floor. You can sweep out the junk in the room through the hole. So there. And now I just clean up the hole so I can get access to the PVC, no problem. And we're done. So this only took roughly 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Here we transition to the master bedroom. And right there, near closest to the wall, that hole hit a cross piece, just like in the first bathroom. I can't do anything about that because that's a big structural support piece. I'm not going to move the hole, of course. I'm going to use an offset flange, and which I'll have to make the hole a tiny bit bigger on one side of it. And it's just an angled, it's the same flange as that, just has a slight bend. I don't know what the degree is, but it's got a slight protrusion at the bottom to come closer to the camera side to make the hole work. Anyway, it should be okay. I haven't tested fit it yet. I got it that night, where the day of I made this video, but I'll show you that probably at the end of the clip. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This wasn't so bad. It took several hours to do all this, of course, but for the most part, I thought it went fairly well. I wasn't really surprised by anything. The only fun I'm going to have is with the plumbing, venting, and the 2 to 2.5 inch PVC that we're going to use for the all the drainage. So we'll come to that in probably within the next few weeks. But anyway, see you later. So the next day I went and bought a couple more blades, and you can see the offset flange right there. You can see where that little dark spot you see underneath the concrete, that's a main structural support for the container. So I kind of made my way through it. Later on I didn't take a video down there, but I cut it with the cutoff wheel, and then it kind of, the metal part came out nicely, and then I had to trim the wood to get the flange in place. And everything kind of seated itself. It took a little while because I had to go in and out of the container. There you see me trying to saw some of this stuff from underneath. I finally got it good enough where I used the cutoff wheel just before this, and that piece of metal fell off, and now I'm taking the piece of wood and making it a little angled so I can get the offset flange in place. So a little extra cutting. This took about 5 blades. Concrete eats blades really quick, so if you get a metal blade hitting concrete, it goes away. Same thing with wooden ones. So quite a few blades. Anyway, you saw me chiseling some more. I'm going to clearance a little teeny bit, and then in just a little bit I'm going to screw it down, and then put some adhesive, construction adhesive, to lock everything in place. There you go, everything's good there. I just made a little more clearance. Once you can see down the throat of the flange, the pipe that goes in, it goes on the inside of it, so everything's good there. And then I'm going to screw the flange down to the concrete, and we'll call it good. So I used the provided drill bit and one extra one I bought for the Tapcon screws. They're 3/16 inch, I believe 2 1/4 inch deep. So it was kind of a pain to drill. The drill bits go and then they stop going. I guess they get kind of hot, I suppose, or whatever. Anyway, it's always a pain using these things. Luckily I made it through all 3 flanges with the same 2 drill bits, and we're good to go there. In a few seconds you'll see me putting adhesive between the PVC and the concrete from underneath, and then we'll call it a day, and we're done with the flanges. Next we'll be cutting holes and stuff for the venting and other plumbing. That'll be fun. Roofing guys are supposed to show up tomorrow, so let's have our fingers crossed. It had a chance of rain today, so they didn't show up. It did rain a little bit earlier, but anyway, I appreciate you watching. Come back in a little bit. We'll have the roof started. Yay! Later.